it's not gonna get a good score, right? Because nothing is gonna make any sense. But if like you can make something silly while also making it make sense, right? I can't think of a group off the top of my head, but like lab rats, right? Lab rats is a pretty well like that. Mergers also does the lore stuff pretty well. The problem with mergers is like mostly the balance. But in terms of like flavor, it's pretty silly, but it's done relatively well. Hang on, what did I give Cavernix? I got 8 out of 10. 0 out of 10 balance, 0 out of 20 balancing, 2 out of 20 appeal. Actually, aren't isn't Cavernix tied now? Yeah, Cavernix is tied with Stunbearers. Stunbearer was fucking rough. Rough. That Stunbearers took the life out of me last night. And like Cavernix at least had like decent lore and stuff, but like Stunbearers had like nothing. I really don't know what they were thinking with Stunbearers, honestly. Like, in what world is giving a random keyword to enemy fighters a good idea? You could give all of the enemy fighters like super dexterous with the stun thing, stun deaded, or super overload. Is this like the most people we're gonna get? You guys think? Should I just start now? 8 people. Well, vote now. Vote now. A concussion? What the fuck? Where did that come from? Do I sound like I have a concussion? There's no way. Is anyone recording this, by the way? I assume that no one is recording. I guess I'll just start. I don't know. I don't know how long I should wait. We're like 20 minutes past the scheduled start time. We haven't reviewed anything yet. I've been waiting for people to join. This VC's dead. We were at 5 people for a minute. Okay, we got like 3 people who just joined. All right. I'll start reading. I'll start reading. All right. I'll look at the keyword. Experiment. Attach a random experimental gear to your terrain, then all gears attached to your terrain generate. If you don't have a terrain in play, put the lab into your terrain slot. Um, Whenever there's a gear of each color attached to this terrain, destroy all of them, then transform this card into Meltdown draw card. Whenever there's a gear of each color attached to this card, destroy all of them. Summon the anomaly and transform this card back. um so this is like a, let's see, an 1100 at most, or actually I guess it could be like, whatever, we'll see. So this is mono white, which means we have no starters, I guess. 3C on cast positive card. Wait, which one is that? I mean, it's not constantly summoning anomalies, is it? You'd have to attach. Hang on. So attach a okay. So in order to summon the anomaly, right? First, you have the lab, right? You need to attach one of each color to the terrain. Whichever one you do is random. Let's say that, like, on average, it takes like 8 experiments. I guess because it's totally random, right? You like, so let's say it takes like 8 experiments to get it to like transform. Then you need to do that again on Meltdown to summon the anomaly once, and then it goes back to the lab. And you need to do it all over again. And what is the point of ginning? These all just cost white. Splashability? I mean, I guess, but it's like the worst splashability of all time. Then all gears, but it's only you only gen when you experiment. It's burst gen exclusively. You don't even use it. Yeah, you don't. There's no colored stud usage in this entire group. I guess there's this. Yeah, you like lose your. This is just acolytes. This is just shitty acolytes with a terrain restriction. The illiteracy exponentially increases. True. I haven't even started reading yet. I just see there's no colored studs in any of these costs. All right. Once each turn, whenever you discard a card, experiment. Then, if you have 2 or more colored studs, you may choose to lose all of your colored studs. If you do, search for a Stud Labs card, except it's inert when discarded. So you need to discard your colorless cards to gain colored studs. So you need to go -2 in card advantage to then gain +1. This is minus because you also have to cast this as well. That's minus 2 card advantage. And it uses all of your colored studs, so you can't trigger any of the other costs that like, oh, you lose all RGBY. All right, when this card is cast or attacks, experiment. This one is better. This one is rough. Lose all your RGBY. Gain 50 power for each red and yellow stud lost this way, and 50 health for each green and blue stud lost this way. I mean, I guess. I feel like this is gonna get outpaced so fast. All random, by the way. You could get like two. Um, you could get like a red and a yellow, and like go to 200, 300, and then trade unfavor, and then trade poorly into mag. Turn one. That would be hilarious. This card costs colorless less for each gear attached to your terrain. Whenever you cast another Stun Labs fighter experiment, then draw a card of 5 or more gears are attached to your terrain. Because they don't discard it. This triggers only once per card rarity. Wait, what? That's such a weird restriction. That is the weirdest restriction of all time. What the fuck? These are not starters. There's no starters in this entire group. It's mono white. Now this card attacks experiment and lose.
Oh, that's not how it works. You can have colorless starters. There's Titans, for examples.
Okay, but these are not starter tagged.
They don't need to be starter tagged. They're automatically starter tagged if they're non-inert and they do stuff.
So are all of these starter so this hang on. So would this be starter tag? This is 3 white.
Yes.
This is 3 white.
They're all starter tagged.
Okay, that's hilarious. Starters are listed below. Oh, hang on. Stud assistant. Oh, stud assistant, stud labs guard, studologist, stud savvy. There's 4 starters. Stud assistant, stud guard, stud savvy sponsor, and studologist. Why did they just put innocent test subject in the middle? What a genius play. Have this card attack experiment and lose all your RGBY. For each stud losses, so this card gains. What? Isn't this just. Okay, I guess it has more stats. But I feel like this effect is just worse. I guess like the destroy. But it's also experiments on cast. This is so weird. This is so weird. 15 starter slots. This card is cast search your deck for a common Stealth fighter. Then, if you have no white, draw a card and experiment. Cards drawn or searched this way gain an and discarded. This is gonna feel like such ass to use. This is gonna feel like such garbage. You're gonna have to draw a 3 white. You're gonna have to specifically draw Stud Savvy Sponsor if you ever want to trigger this. And if you're going first, forget about it. There's no 1 white drops here. This card is cast for each gear attached to your terrain. All allied fighters gain until their next end step. This is the top end, I guess. This is the end of haste. So wait, this is just a 1200 0 vanilla? Like, at least, like, 4 blocks. Is it Corblock's Death Knight? Is the top end? At least he has like a good stat line, right? It's 1000, 1000. This guy has like the same gimmick, but he's 1250 0. Six white. And this is at most like, let's see, 6 times. So this is 1500 power. I guess it can end games, but that's if you have a board state already. And I don't see this group getting that much of a board state that fast. I mean, look at these fucking stat lines on the starters. Holy shit. Once each turn, whenever you experiment, deal 100 damage to all enemy fighters. Deal 200 okay. Once each turn, whenever you experiment, in art and play, once each turn, whenever you experiment, all allied fighters gain 100 health. Instead, gain 200. So these are the rares. If you experiment, draw a card, then draw another 5 more gears. Or not when discarded. In art and play, once each turn, whenever you experiment, all allied fighters gain 100 power. Okay. So let's start with lore. Uh, an R&D branch that's part of the profit company, Demonic Armament Inauguration and Product Company. Yeah, Inauguration focuses on the researching and testing of stud infusions with objects, specifically ones that help the coming demon. What? Demon wars? Who are these people? Try not to tease him for the fact that all he really does is moving things around. To secure, control, protect, that is my job. Every test subject is ensured to have their memory modified in some way to increase the smoothness of the test. So researchers in the future, you should start investigating. That person specializes in studying studs. Does this agree with an epic? No, it doesn't. 27 deck slots? Why does it have more rares than commons and uncommons? Not very rare. Yeah, this looks like it would be such an odd group to play. What even is the play line here? A mono white aggro? This is aggro? Look at these stat lines. How is this aggro? And I guess you have the rares. And These are so understated. This is yellow infused guitar. Okay, so as I say, it should never judge a book by its cover. Where's the Terrarian? They just don't have a Terrarian. They just never made it.
Meltdown.
That's not a Terrarian. That's the transformed terrain.
Fuck me.
Clarifies below. What? Innocent test subject is the Terrarian?
Legendary.
What the fuck is this lore? Why is test subject? What? 500, 500? There's no gigants. Not even the top end is a gigant. I can't figure out what the lore of this group is in the slightest. Is it just there's a lab and they study studs and that's it? There's nothing more. They just threw in the reference to the Demon Wars in there for no fucking reason. None of this ties back to the Demon Wars, except like the top end Elder Null Demon. They just made some shit up. What the fuck is a? Are we in the Nulder world? That's not a thing. Elder Null Demon. We're just making shit up now. We're just lore. You get a 1. They infuse and nullify stud colors within people and object. What does that mean, though? They put the studs in the items, and then what? Why are they doing that? All right, moving on to theme. The inertia is really boring. It's literally just inert and play white cards, and whenever you literally all of the draw in this deck is inert. All of it. Everything becomes inert when discarded when you search it or draw it. So that's lame as fuck. And in the lab, I honestly don't hate this concept. It's done reasonably well. I wish it was in a better group. Overall, I think I'm gonna give it like a 3 in terms of brief. Synergy? None of this stuff really synergizes with itself. This card fucking sucks. This one. Then if you have no white, how are you ever supposed to manage your white if there's no 1-drops in the entire group? There's no 1 white cards to be seen here. You just have to pray that at some point you reach 3 white and have this in your hand, and then it gives you like the most mediocre upside of all time. And don't even get me started on this. You can trigger one of these effects per turn, because they make you lose all of your studs, all of your colored studs. So you can trigger this once per turn, and then you can't trigger this or this. You can trigger this one, you can't trigger this or this. Um, I don't even know what the fuck this is doing here, because you're constantly destroying the stuff on your terrain, right? You destroy everything on your terrain to transform it, and then you destroy it to some of the anomaly and transform it back. Um, so the requirements for all of the rares and also the legendary and this guy are the requirement is constantly in flux. You could at any moment lose the requirement for all of them and be set back to square one just because of sheer luck. Because again, everything here is random. It is a completely random experimental gear. There's no way to manipulate the RNG. There's no card that's like, oh, you can choose which one. It's gambling. And I think I'm gonna give it a 2. Mechanic. I mean, it's simple, right? This is like shitty Dragon Force. I mean, I guess it's simple, but I mean, I would love to see a new player try and pilot this shit. I don't know. I'll give it like a 4 on mechanic. But actually, the mechanic sucks, so I'm gonna give it a 3 because it's like you can understand it, but also, um, this is gonna be a nightmare for anyone to pilot. The rainbow, no, the rainbow gimmick is used for 3 total cards. Actually, it's used for this one, and that one, and that's it. That's the only. These 3 cards are the only reason why it's even rainbow at all. These 3 cards right here. Read them and weep. Implementation. None of the stuff is even remotely splashable. Use Damnatio here? I mean, that's actually true. That kind of breaks the whole concept of the group, isn't it? The keyword, yeah, because it just says if you don't have a terrain, it summons the lab. So you can just cast Damnatio, and it breaks the whole group. It makes everything here over. It makes these 3 cards fucking insane. And also, it doesn't obliterate your gear. Hang on, I'm actually gonna bump down synergy to 1, maybe even 0, because it is actively anti-synergistic to play the lab. It is actively because the lab, because 5 different cards here, all of the rares and the legendary, no, 6 different cards, all the rares, the legendary, and this innocent test subject want you to have as many gears on your terrain as physically possible, right? The lab destroys all of the gears you have in your current terrain whenever you reach one of each color. The lab actively fucks you over. You would be better off playing fucking what's the dragon, the Neo Dragon terrain? You'd be better off playing Circle Stud than letting the lab go into play. This card get this gets a 0 in terms of synergy. Implementation, it gets fucking broken by Damnatio. Like, what were they thinking? Balance. This group is ass. There's no way around it. None of this stuff is good. The These 3 starters are all way too selfish. I said it before, you can only trigger one of these guys per turn. If you trigger this guy, you can't trigger this one or this one, and vice versa for all of them. because they eat all of your thing. Getting less than Cavernix is a challenge. That is true. You know what? I'm gonna give this like a fucking 2, maybe even a 1, because this is gonna be this is gonna be the most ass group to test out of the entire bunch. I guarantee it. 3. It ties with Cavernix. It's a 3-way tie for last place right now. Genius. This is truly the group of all time. I'm done with this. I'm done with that one. Moving on. What's next? I'm pretty sure all of these last groups are going to be complete garbage, by the way. Shore waivers. I actually got a little peek of this one earlier from Pikachu's stream, but I didn't see much. I already did review Cavernix. Do you mean what's it called? Generics and Gestendites? I'll review them later. Maybe I'll review them last. I'll review those two last. Yeah. Let's see. Breach. This card attach a copy of itself as a 0/0 gear to a target allied fighter. The gear becomes breached. Reborn, this gear manifests into a fighter with 100 stats. Is someone recording? I don't know. Beats me. What? Where's the starter? What? Why is it? Holy formatting. When this card is cast, there's also only one starter in a tricolor group? In tricolor? Are there any 1-drops? No, no one. Oh my god. I can already tell I'm gonna fucking hate this. When this card is cast, breach. Whenever this card attacks another, the opposing card loses 50. This is the most understated 3 yellow starter of all time. Isn't fucking autoclick grinder? Autoclick grinder is 3 yellow. Is 3 colorless. 500, 300, 350, 200. That's like 2 colorless starter stats. All that add? Hang on. What the fuck? It's gone. We'll go this way. When this card is cast, all attached allied fighters attaches a breached copy of themselves. Attaches a breached copy of themselves? To what? They attach a breached copy of themselves to what? To the terrain? To themselves? But what is it? But what is this syntax? No, but it says this attaches a breached copy of themselves. Shouldn't it just be all unattached allied fighters breach? Not they attach a breached copy of themselves? That syntax implies that Because if it really was just they all breach, it would just say, yeah, because when this card is cast breach, the keyword is breach. This does not use the breach keyword. It says it attaches a breached copy of themselves. That's not using the keyword. This is not the keyword. This just doesn't make any fucking sense. I'm going to assume they attach a breached copy of themselves to themselves because that's the only thing that makes sense here. Once each turn, whenever an allied card is reborn and during your end step, a target enemy fighter loses 100 power. Okay, that's uncodable, but whatever. You can't have a target on end step. That's not how that works. That's not a thing you can do. And also, what is this trigger? Once each turn, whenever an allied card is reborn, why not if an allied card is reborn on during your end step, if an allied fighter was reborn this turn, and then it does the thing. What is this fucking syntax? I'm gonna lose my mind. This is bad. This is bad. What happens if a turn end step instantly ends your turn? If it was at the start of the opponent's turn, that would make sense. But like, you can't have a target on end step. It's just uncodable. The legendary's here. Why is it up? Dude, this fucking formatting is gonna give me a migraine. Oh my god, there's so much text it cuts off. When this card is cast, give yourself to Primal Abyssal. What the fuck is a Primal Abyssal Reaper? Prim Primal Abyssal Reaper? How much fucking text is there? Oh my god. Give yourself two Primal Abyssal Reaper. Then a target allied fighter breaches and recur 3 Shore Weaver cards from your graveyard, except it has fading. It has fading. It referring to 3 things. It has fading. It has fading. When this card attacks another, target an allied fighter twice. A breach skier. A breach skier attached to those card are reborn. Set the breached card stats to 450, 450, then all allied fighters gains 100 stats. It's not just instead of they. This entire fucking wall of text is full of errors. When this card is cast, put an Adler terrain. An Adler terrain? So it's just the terrain. Okay, that's weird. Put an Adler terrain in play from your hand as if it were casted. Once each turn, whenever an enemy fighter attacks another, that card loses 50 power for each gear attached to this card. If it has 0 power, this. What? If it has 0. If it has 0 power, this. I'm okay. I'm gonna stop talking about the grammar stuff because this is getting ridiculous. Also, yeah, these are all for a group that has one e-starter and it's yellow. There's only one starter in a tricolor group. All this shit is so expensive. This is the only 2-drop of the entire group. Very splashable terrain, is it? On this card is cast all unattached allied fighters, once you turn whatever. I mean, you'd have to have something to reborn to do it. Well, actually, I guess. Hang on. Having a terrain that just attaches. There's 2 terrains. Where's the other one? What? Hang on. Terrain. Oh my god. I'm gonna crash out. I'm gonna crash out. This is the worst format I've ever seen in any group ever. As Christmas put Adler. Well, twice each turn, whenever you discard a card, a breach gear attached to a target allied fighter is reborn. Okay. Shuffle. Add a non-red stud cost to this card. Shuffle a copy of this card back in your deck. If this card has 5 or more stud. Wait. No fucking way. No way. Are we serious? Are we serious? So, this, first of all, is not fading, so it just grave fills. Second of all, this does nothing. The first time you cast this card, you spend 4 studs to do fuck all. Also, yeah, it doesn't shuffle itself. It shuffles. Actually, okay. I'm not gonna go too hard on the syntax anymore because I've done that enough. But if we're going off the syntax, this just shuffles a card with this cost into the deck. It does not take the stud cost, the added stud cost into consideration. Um, it would just shuffle another 4 stud cost to the deck. If we're going purely off this, I know what they mean. I know that they mean you add the stud cost and then you shuffle it with the additional stud cost back in your deck. But um, we're but you know, I'm just putting it out there. It's going to 5 more stud cost. Summon a newborn fighter. A newborn fighter. And search for an Alder terrain. If 7 or more stud. So you need to cast this card 3 different times to get this. Summon a primal fighter. Dude, this is the worst fucking action I've ever seen in my entire life. This is like, this is bad. This is rough. Can you only speak to the right side, please, folks? Yeah, I'll do my best, Corey. I'll do my best. But yeah, this is the worst action I've ever seen in my entire life. Um, Primal Abyssal Reaper. This card is cast destroy a breached card attached to an allied fighter or a breached fighter. What is a breached fighter? A breached fighter is not a thing. Okay, well, oh, I guess it manifests. Okay, sure. Or a breached fighter. If you do your terrain breaches, if you control one. Otherwise, put an alder terrain in play for free from your hand as if it were casted. This card gains 50/50 stats for each attached allied fighter. The other, when this card is cast, 3 attached breached fighters are reborn. Once each turn, whenever an allied card is a target allied fighter gains 100 power. Sure. Sure. After this card attacks another, pay one. If you do, this gear breaches. The gear breaches? An allied gear is reborn? You can manifest any gear into a fighter with this? Any gear. Any of them. And Leth's Rebirth. Okay, but Leth's Rebirth doesn't remove the gear. This removes the gear as well. Because it manifests. So if there's like... Actually, if you use this with Underworld Luminary, there's a chance that it can just it can just manifest the Cognito Hazard into a fighter. Uh, okay. Inert in play once each turn. Whenever you breach a card, draw a card. A target allied. A target allied. A target allied gains 100 plus 150 stats. Whenever this card attacks another, all allied attached fighters generates. Draw card, recur a selected shore waiver fighter, except it has fading. Reach a target allied fighter. Target an attached allied fighter. A breached gear is attached. A breached gear attached is reborn. Breach a target allied fighter. Return the target allied fighter. Give yourself a copy of it, except it's inert in all zones. Shuffle this card back into your deck. That's ass. Hold on. How many studs is this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 studs for that? 7 studs. I can't count. 7 studs for that? For that effect? Yeah. A species of sea creatures found in Foroth. Brainwashed by the waters. Their aggressive yet not entirely harmful nature allowed them to torture any that try to do anything about them, to torture them. Jesus. After the Doomspire started appearing. Why is the Doomspire affecting Foroth? This is a whole other planet. After the Doomspire started appearing, however, their their mere presence was enough to send them into a frenzy. Gradually they would evolve, become the feral creatures they were known to be. Their peaceful nature allowed them to torture. Yeah, this is not. How is the Foroth waters habitable to anything? In Doomspire, Foroth is no more. Dude, this gets a 0. It gets a 0 in lore. This is awful. Brief. Um, and it manifests figures into fighters. It sure does that. Hang on, how many things actually reborn? This reborns. It reborns. It reborns a little. No, this is okay. So this reborns. This reborns. Um, this reborns, but only. But this okay. This effectively doesn't reborn. There's like 4 cards of this entire group that actually reborn. And then this, hang on, inert. The only inertia gimmick in this entire group is one fighter that's a rare and inert in play. You get a 1. So I just get Shorevers at 2 and beyond with it. True. Synergy. Everything here is just kind of doing its own thing. Some of these cards are just completely and utterly useless. Um, there's not really any cool combos you can do with any of this. You get a 2. Mechanic. Fucking 0. First of all the different fucking tags here are going to be a nightmare for any new player to learn. And also, the fact there's so much trash here. Whatever, I'll give it like a 1. Implementation. Um, this gear is evil. That's about it. Nothing else here is even remotely splashable. Like 2, maybe 1. Power, fucking 0. This is probably one of the weakest groups in the entire comp. How are you supposed to ramp to any of this? You have 1 starter and it's yellow. 1. Let's see. Final score 5. Moving on. What's next? Raring. I'm a raring to go, guys. What did Shorevers get? Shorevers got a 5. Apiary? Let me go back and see. Apiary got a 36. Yeah, they'll be tabletop tested. but this is just first impressions. Honestly, the only reason why apiary didn't get higher is because the balance. Like there was just some stuff there that was like absolutely nightmarishly powerful. No keywords. Okay. Inert and play starter. When this fighters destroys another, remove its inertia and this card generates. Inert and play starters almost never work, and this is not a case where it works. This is awful design. Um, so let's say you're going first. You cast this card, and it has two locks on it, right? Um, this will not generate even a single time until turn 3. Unless your opponent chooses to crash something into it and throw the game. And in return, you get slightly above vanilla. Actually, is this even above vanilla? Uh, this guy, autoclick grinder is 500, 300. This is 400, 400. This is not even, this is like not even particularly good. These are like average stats. Once ever, whenever a card with inertia is cast, this card gains defender. That train that card and this card. So this is effectively 450, 150 with defender, I guess. That's interesting. I mean, I guess it makes the stat line decent. Resisting recruit. Inert play. When this card is cast, deal 50 damage to a target fighter for each allied inert fighter. Remove its inertia if a fighter died by this effect. Attach an excitement to your terrain. It's an excitement. Crowd's excitement. It's just a gear. Okay. This card is holy shit. How many fighters are here? How many cards? As card is cast at your deck for terrain. At the start of your turns, you may destroy a gear in your terrain. If you do, remove all inertia from a target allied fighter in play and in hand. Alright. Isn't that kind of anti-synergistic with the starter here? Because you want to cast a fighter with inertia? This card is cast on a 300, 100 survivor that is there in play. Let each turn whenever in an allied card with in any zone loses inertia. Um, whenever an allied card in any zone loses inertia, all allied fighters gain 50 health and power. Isn't this paired with this 100 100 AoE boost? I'm gonna move inertia so you can get buffs from Hello's underlings, obviously. Draw a card and target an ally fighter. They both become inert in play and when discarded. If you targeted a fighter with no inertia, draw another card. It becomes inert in play and when discarded. Once each turn, whenever an allied card becomes inert, it generates first, then attach an excitement to your terrain. This card gains inertia in all zones. Whenever this card attacks, ransack 3. If you do, target an allied inert fighter and apply counter damage to that fighter. Counter damage? What? What does that mean? Does anyone know what that means? Counter means 600 or the power of that fighter? Where are you getting that from? Countered like, but like, what does that mean in this context? Maybe T means like its own power? Counter damage. I Huh? It stops countering me. I'm lost. Select a fighter from your hand graveyard that costs X studs and summon it with inertia and fading. X is the amount of gears on your terrain. If you control he, attach NN excitement to all allied fighters. N is the amount of inert cards on the field. What's he? His expanded eye. Token terrain. Zeitgeist of Project. Whenever a gear is attached to your terrain, this card gains 100 health and power. You lose 100 life, and a target fighter becomes inert in all zones. Whenever you lose at least 200 life each turn, deal 50 damage to all enemy fighters. Repeat this effect if this card was inert. Immune to inertia. If you control a he, this card gains haste. What rarity is this? I think people forget when a card attacks another, that is called a counterattack. That is the bare bones of combat. That damage is just called damage, but I specified it as counter damage. But I obviously can. What does any of that mean? I know what a counterattack is. What is counter damage? Oh, okay, I see. So whenever the shouldn't this be after? Okay, so what it applies the damage of whatever it attacks. So if this attacked like a 500 and took 500 damage, then it would apply 500 damage to an allied fighter. It's the damage of the fighter that this card attacked, I think. So if this card attacked like a 300, then it would deal 300 damage to that allied fighter. Mark for insanity? It's not marked for insanity, no. It's not redirecting damage. It's doubling the damage. Because this card doesn't take any less damage. This card isn't this card it doesn't have uncounterable on it. So this card what happens with this card is it triggers first though, that doesn't matter. No, okay, Corey, here's what you're not understanding. If you do a target an allied inert fighter and apply counter damage to that fighter, this only targets allied, which means you damage your own fighter. You're doubling. So this, let's say you attack at 300, 300. This takes 300 damage. And then you target an allied inert fighter, and that allied fighter also takes 300 damage. You are doubling the amount of combat damage you're taking. You know inertia when this card is haste. When this card is cast, attach 2 gears to your terrain. Whenever this card attacks, if you control E, this card gains 50/50 for each inert card in play. Attach an excitement to your turn. Immersed spectator? What is immersed spectator? Where did this guy come from? When this card is cast, if you have an inert fighter, search your deck for a raring card. Whenever a gear is attached to this card, summon a 100/0 immersed spectator. Whenever a gear is attached to this card. Whenever 3 more gears are attached to this card, transform it into his expanded eye. Whenever a fighter loses inertia, this train generates a red and yellow stud, then attach 100 excitement to all allies. Holy shit. During your end step, destroy a gear attached, then revert the terrain once 2 or fewer gears are attached. Okay, so this is never getting reverted. Alright, bored with the measly battles between fun-deaded fighters and gladiators, Hollow proposes a riveting and fulfilling view of fighters from different eras of alternative timelines. Wanting to the crowd, he spectates the matches and enters deathly gaze the spirits. What the fuck does Quan Sinister have to do with any of this? Where is Quan Sinister? This is just crossover arena the group. This is just crossover for the sake of crossover. This is just bad. How did Hollow fucking time travel to make this happen? Okay, so if this group is to be believed, time travel is now canon in Black's cards, and Hollow can just do it. He can just go to different era. No, not just time travel. He can go, hang on, to different timelines. He can travel between timelines and through time itself. Time travel, I mean, I guess in the far, far future, time travel is canon. Time travel was only invented after the entire lore of Block's cards already finished, so that the people in Dualshire can go back in time to see everything as it happens, right? Time travel never existed before that, canonically. Otherwise, none of the lore would make any fucking sense. Time travel exclusively exists after everything that happened. Yeah. Yeah, that's the future of everything. How does trials exist? You go back in time. Dual Shire. Okay, time travel exists in Dual Shire. These pits of I have no idea. I assume that everything that happens in Dual Shire is just time travel nonsense. Um, I assume that Pits of the Umber Hollow. You mean Hollow's Trials? I assume that it's just you go back in time to and fight in the arena. But either way, this group completely breaks the lore just by existing. It never says alternative universe. It just says it's a thing that happens. Yeah, this is just the group creators DeviantArt OC of each group. This is their Mecha OC. This is their what is this Lycanthrope OC, Resistance OC, Stars OC, Vibe Shark OC. This gets a 0 for lore. Um, this group breaks the Blockstar's lore simply by existing. I like what they do with the inertia thing. Where is the second prompt? Oh, the terrain transforms. That's right. Um, uh, the inertia is kind of interesting. Give it like a 3. This is the most basic bitch terrain transform that there is. Maybe a 4. I'll give it a 4 for a brief. Um, only because I somewhat kind of like the inertia thing. Synergy is a very, very weird one for this group because it feels like every single card of the entire group is doing something different. This is self-sack. This, and also ransack. This is, let's see. This plays into the inertia gimmick. This also kind of plays into the inertia gimmick. This doesn't really. This is. I don't even know. This doesn't even really play into the inertia gimmick. This just requires that you have an inert card. This is just kind of its own thing. This um kind of plays into the inertia gimmick. I guess it's a little anti-synergistic. This card plays the inertia gimmick. This card summons, and it's like a mini version of the eye terrain. This one like is inert draw. This is like self burn, and also the okay. Everything on here, everything in the top row plays into the inertia gimmick, right? And then everything here, suddenly, oh, you're attaching gears to the terrain. It feels like this group has two halves, right? And they're both doing their own thing. Like the inertia is just a means to an end to get the gears on the terrain. It's not like this group is so bipolar. It doesn't make any sense. It feels like you have two different goals and neither of them really have anything to do with each other. I don't know. I'll give it like a 1. This everything here just feels so weird. Like I have no idea how any of this stuff would play out in like a real match. Mechanic. It's back to what I said before, right? This group has two different gimmicks it's going for. It's going for both applying and taking inertia away from different fighters, as well as getting this terrain into play and putting gears on it. It's I feel like it's going to be so hard to figure out how to pilot this. Like, I'll give it like a 3. I don't think it's going to be like the most hard to understand, but it's definitely like weird, like really odd. Implementation, I mean, none of this stuff is group locked. I mean, everything is group locked. Well, I guess this one, it's everything here is so oddly specific. Like, I'm sure everything here can find a niche somewhere, but I certainly can't figure it out on the fly. I don't think there's any game breaking combos here. Actually, this is group locked. Um, this is group locked. I still don't know what rarity this guy is. He's red rarity. This is the final submission, right? Red rarity in the final submission. He's epic. Could have fooled me. I thought he was red. Into Rara's art. Yeah, pretty much. I see where all the budget went. That and one last battle, honestly. Just those two. This art. Okay, I'm not judging based on art, right? Art like basically doesn't matter. But fucking this. Look at this. Like everything here looks like pretty much passable. It looks like pretty decent. And then there's just the spiteless scrapnoid. Did you see the bio? Look at his bio. Wait, whose bio? Zip bap beep boop beep. Oh no, wait, you mean Ray Ray. No, he's not Peak. I hate him. I hate spiteless scrapnoid. I'm the number one spiteless scrapnoid op. Where was I? What was I doing? Implementation. Really a 5. I think everything here that's not root block can find like some niche. Well, actually, I say that. This fighter sucks. This is useless. Well, this I'm sure can find a use, but it's gonna be hyper specific. This sucks. This is honestly good. I like terrain searches. We need more terrain searches, honestly. Right now, terrain search is just a fucking. Actually, is this a pie break? This is a generic terrain search. Is red yellow or red allowed to have that? My dearest friend. Sure. I think I'll stick with 5 in terms of implementation. Power? I'm not gonna lie. Um, there's so much going on in this group that I genuinely cannot even I can't even begin to make a judgment call in terms of power. There's so much going on here. It's such a clusterfuck. I can't tell. I can't tell. It's just a mashup of cards. I'm just gonna give it a 5 I'm gonna give it like a 4 because I genuinely could not tell you. Let's see, 4, 4, 9, 9 plus 8, 17. Good enough. I'll iron it out later. Only 2 left. Yeah, true. Uh, let's see. Scamigators and Dogma. What's it gonna be? Scramigators. There's no arts to be found here. All right, let's see. Are they all gators? It's all gators. Shuffle the scams into the stated deck. The scams. When this card enters your hand or is drawn from your deck to what? Is drawn from your deck to the graveyard. Why is everyone leaving? Is drawn from your deck to the graveyard. Drawn from your deck. So if it's like destroyed from your deck, is that what that means? How do you draw a card from your deck to the graveyard? Is it like if it's milled? Full hand? I see. It wants to. Let's see. Claudia's protection.